Good evening and welcome to People's Voice on VOP TV, the only platform where we amplify your concerns, explore solutions, and spark meaningful conversations. I'm your host, Adefunke Jaisimi, and tonight we follow up on the previous discussion on the position of the National Association of Nigerian Students, NANS, on the closure of schools in 4 northern states in Nigeria. We are tackling a contentious issue that sparked heated debates across the nation: the closure of schools during Ramadan. As the holy month of Ramadan unfolds, millions of Muslim faithfuls are obeying the sacred rituals of fasting, reflection, and prayers. But amidst the spiritual rejuvenation, a pressing question lingers. What about the rights of non-Muslim students and the human cost of shutting down schools? The decision by some state governments to close schools for Ramadan for 5 weeks, not even the 4 weeks that we thought would be for Ramadan. I mean, Ramadan is supposed to be 4 weeks long, but these schools are to be shut for 5 weeks. This conversation and the decision by these governors has ignited a firestorm of controversies across different platforms, people asking questions, demanding what the position of every citizen of the country is, regardless of their religious affiliation. While proponents argue that it's a necessary accommodation for Muslim students, critics contend that it is an infringement on the rights of non-Muslim students and a disruption to their academic pursuit. And this is, for some people, that beyond non-Muslims now, even for the students that are Muslim, it's a big disruption to their academic calendar. But beyond the ideological tug of war lies a more poignant reality. The closure of schools has real-life consequences for students, their parents, and the communities at large, from the loss of precious learning time to the economic burdens on families. The human cost of Ramadan school closures cannot be ignored, and this is a conversation that we would continue to have, because another year will come and another Ramadan will be on. We need to start making decisions looking at how it affects everyone. So tonight we're asking the tough questions: majority rule or minority rights? Should the rights of the majority supersede those of the minority? What are the unintended consequences of Ramadan school closures, and who bears the brunt of these decisions? We really want to hear from you, so please call in, text us on 090-447-32605, or tweet us using the hashtag People's Voice on VOP TV. Do well to subscribe to our YouTube channel at Voice of the People TV. Follow us across all social media platforms at VOP TV Live. Let's make our voices heard and explore the issues that matters most to every Nigerian. It's time to go on a quick break. People's Voice on show with us.
From the views on the street,
we go to bed empty hunger,
to the blaring horns of a hustling city, the loudest voices of the common man got a medium to be heard.
This particular administration, they were coming unprepared.
It's not a bad thing to renovate the president's lawn.
Through top-notch programming, unbiased reportage of news, sports, business, entertainment, and cultural documentaries, Voice of the People 90.3 FM became a symbol for 21st century media. And
welcome back, and many thanks for staying with us. Earlier, we discussed Murik's response to CANS regarding the closure of schools during Ramadan. According to Murik, they argue that Ramadan is a Muslim issue and does not affect or involve other faiths, and that can, on their part, should stay out of it. However, this response has sparked even more controversy because many people are questioning the responsibility of the four state governments that prioritize majority rule over minority rights. This decision has real-life consequences for the students, parents, and the communities, like I said earlier, and the closure of schools disrupts academic pursuits, causes economic burdens on families, and undermines the rights of Nigerian citizens. Joining me now is Adeyemi Samson, the National PRO of NANS. As the voice of Nigerian students, NANS has been at the forefront of these debates, and Mr. Samson, Comrade Samson, will share his insights on the impact of Ramadan school closures on students and the nation at large, and also tell us where they stand in all of this. Welcome to the show, Comrade Samson. You need to unmute your mic. Hello, can you hear me? We need to go on a quick break now. We'll be back shortly. Is it from us?
From the views on the street
We go to bed empty hunger.
to the blaring horns of a hustling city, the loudest voices of the common man got a medium to be heard.
This particular administration, they were coming unprepared.
It's not a bad thing to renovate the president's lodge.
Through top-notch programming, unbiased reportage of news, sports, business, entertainment, and cultural documentaries, Voice of the People 90.3 FM became a symbol for 21st century media. And now, a new baby is born. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV, youthful, full of vigor and penchant for excellence in the continent's media space, exposing the wrongs, applauding the rights, dissecting the news without fear or favor, through factual and accurate stories and contents,
Corruption kills three things that makes a society.
representing the interests of the people and giving them a voice. Voice of the People TV is here to stay towards building a fair society. VOP TV, Voice of the People Television, truly a voice for the people.
Sorry for that break. Comrade Samson, are you there now?
I'm here. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes, I can hear you clearly. How are you doing? Thank you so much for joining us on the show.
Thank you very much. I'm fine. And apology for the little network issue. Thank you very much.
It's totally fine. We cannot fight our comrades. We just have to find an understanding. But did you get my introduction talking about the response from Murik to the Christian Association of Nigeria?
Yes, I do.
So I'm going to ask you now that how does NANS view the stance of Murik that Ramadan is a Muslim issue that doesn't involve other faiths and that should stay out of it?
Thank you very much. I would not want my observation or my opinion to be seen as a Christian, but I want it to be seen as a patriotic Nigerian student and as a voice for Nigerian students. You are with me And you can recall that personally, I've used my office to call out the 4 state governors to reopen institutions in their states that have been closed down due to Ramadan fasting and likes. And it is unfortunately that today I was scrolling, surfing the internet, and I came across the statement by the Murik. And it is so bewildered that such kind of statements can be coming from a religious leader and someone in such kind of a high and respectable position. No, it's just unfortunately that we in Nigerian always see the truth, and still yet we will always decide to use a veil to cover our face and look aside. And this is one of the issues that put the country into unnecessary religion tension. This is education, and when we are talking of education, the last time in the press release I made, it is despite the fact that education is inside the exclusive list, it is also in the concurrent. But as much as it is possible that the state government have right to legislate on education, it doesn't still give the state government the outright power and the responsibility to declare closure of school with Ramadan. When the state, I think that was by Bauchi, was speaking, and the commissioner or whosoever that speak, trying to give explanation to the second and third term break and how it was extended till April. You see that the person was somehow diplomatic in the explanation.
Right.
They didn't even come out clearly to let us realize that this break, truly this first, second, and third term break, mean-term break, is just a week and probably maximum of 7 days, and the rest extension is for Ramadan purpose. They started bringing cultural. I'm trying to look for that statement so that I can quote it as it was put there. A minute, please.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay. So let me just continue. I was trying to look for that statement whereby they were using some kind of a term to qualify that angle. So I think okay. I'm still scanning through. Let me keep speaking. So what I'm just trying to say is the fact that the 4 northern states, okay, good. This is statement. However, the Bauchi State Ministry of Education maintains that the change in the academic schedule are part of a structured approach to balancing education with religious and cultural observance. Now, you said balancing education with religion and cultural observance.
Right.
Yeah. Now look at the word. You said religion. You didn't said balancing education with Muslim or with fasting and cultural observance. You have used the word religion. And when you use the word religion, it means that it encompasses all religion. That is the 3 major religions we are talking about. Okay, Muslim, Christian, the Christianity, the Islamic, and the traditionalists. So automatically, are you telling me that if there's Lent, why didn't you use the excuse of Lent for the few majority? And the Murik was quoting something of a statement of the majority should have their way or have their say or something like that. Yeah, the right of the majority. And you see, these are critical issues that our scholars should not be bringing to things that are so sensitive. We know Nigeria is a country that is so when we bring issues of religion, it's so sensitive. And the Murik was even saying that the Khan does not have a right to speak on it.
That they are some things happen in the southwest and they are not majority in the north.
You see, the problem here is the fact that when you start looking at the fact that the issue is now a northern issue, is the southern issue, that's where the problem comes from. We are talking of education. Even if it's just 5% of students from the north are Christian, you still have to give them and let them exercise their fundamental human rights.
Absolutely. But don't you think that the insistence on the part of Murik on prioritizing Muslim interest over others undermine the principles of inclusivity and diversity that NANS advocates for? And I mean, what are you doing as an institution to uphold your values?
Thank you very much. I'm sure if you are a bit conversant with channels, you see that about 2 or 3 days ago, the Minister of Education make it very clear that they are in this serious communication with the 4 state governments to reconsider the opening of the schools. So if the federal government have seen it as a need to also intervene, it shows that it is right and it is something that is in the right track agitating for it. So if the Murik are still also hell-bent and encouraging the four states northern government, okay, just imagine now, if just four northern states, what of others? If it is something that should be to be encouraged. So sincerely, I think we as a body, the best we can do, even our 3 C's of Aluta says consultation before consolidation. We can only consolidate on a consultation that we have started, and that is what we are trying to do.
So there's been consultations.
Exactly, there has been consultations, and our consultations has been why we are able to voice out that okay, this thing truly, if it exists and if it continues. I was called by a journalist in Abeokuta some days, I think yesterday, and I was asking me that our 72 hours ultimatum is as elapsed. I said, yeah, I said truly it has elapsed, but by now you can be with me that the issue has now become a national issue. We have created a good awareness for it, for everyone to know. Even many people are not knowing that there's something of such going on. We have created a very good publicity for it. We have created awareness for it. Even it has gotten to the federal government attention to intervene and switch into action, whereby the minister has already come on board to speak on it. So that is one of the things we have been able to achieve. And also, before going further, we also have to have facts and our fact findings. As journalists, you people are more conversant with this. You have corresponded across the state. It will not be easy for me from our southwest now to travel to all the four northern states and the like. So also what we are also trying to do is also to ensure that we have people over there who will go to these schools, ensure that confirm that okay, are they truly on the midterm? When is the midterm break? When is it ending? And is the school still reopening or not reopening? So when we can have a pictorial evidence or a video showing that the school has been shut and no single person came to that school, either primary or secondary or tertiary during that week, then we can be able to use that as much evidence against them that truly you people still went ahead even after the few days midterm break, especially in Bauchi that we're using the excuse of the midterm break. We can use that as an avenue to speak further with facts and figures. Right. So that's why we are consolidating on our consultations. And I believe at this stage, for the Khan and the Murik to have also speak up is the fact that the issue has become a national issue, and we have spoken up, and people have started voicing their opinions out regarding this issue.
So what are the 3 C's? Consultation, consolidation, and what?
Before confrontation, that is, before you go into confrontation, consolidation before confrontation. But we call it the 3 C's of Aluta.
Of Aluta, we don't want to experience Aluta, anyways. But really, looking at the angle they are responding from, making it look like an inter-religious war or an inter-tribal war, talking about the population in the north as against what the population is in the southwest, and the position of these religious institutions in all of this. On your part as Association of Nigerian Students, can you share perspectives on the potential consequences? Why are you fighting? Why are you insistent on your stand? What are the potential consequences of closing schools for Ramadan, particularly in terms of academic disruption and economic burdens on the families of the children that needs to be at home?
Thank you very much. You see, the problem that people don't realize mostly in Nigeria is the fact that when there are issues, the best is to address it from the early starts and from the beginning.
Okay.
Now, last year, we are not dragging this issue. Now we have started dragging this issue, and this issue has come up with 4 states. So it shows that once we cannot be able to achieve this issue to a reasonable conclusion, it shows that it will become a precedence. Yes, and by the time the next Ramadan is coming, automatically many states will start preparing for that. And before you know it, it will get to a state that all northern states will have to start doing that same. And by the time you do see it, now imagine a state that is, probably any state that is Christian, or let me use the south or southeast, that we can also use that, the percentage of the Christian in this state is also that we have to look as a nation, not just as a state. And that's why I started from the beginning that education is also in the exclusive list, right, and in the concurrent. So it is not a state government absolute right to legislate on it. So the federal can also speak on it and can take supreme control over it. So on this basis, I see it as a necessity for us to address and put history right, and not to distort it. Because if it started like this, who knows in the next 2, 3 to 4 years where we are going to be?
Exactly.
And as I said earlier, Nigeria is a country that is very, very sensitive to religious matter.
Exactly. You're right on that. But let's talk about the states, because the later part of this conversation is going to be on the response of the Minister of Education and what the ministry is doing. But let's talk about the association itself, National Association of Nigerian Students. Do you have zonal representation? Do you have state representation? And if you do, are there some sort of collaboration between the National Association of Nigerian Students and the government, I mean, governors of the states? Because I remember far back, I think 2002, 2005, 6, thereabout, in Akure, then the NANS president was a FUTA student, I think Femi Struggle. And I know that there was some sort of collaboration between NANS on the state level with the then governor, Olusegun Agagu, and there was some sort of collaboration between NANS and the federal level. Because if this relationship exists, then what is the position of NANS in the scheme of things when it comes to the leadership and responsibility of the state governors?
NANS is an association that have a solidified structure from the national to the zonal and to the states. Let me make it clear. In NANS, we have 37 state houses. That is all the 36 states. We have established body, which is called Joint Campus Committee.
Okay.
In all, yes, you can make your find. There's no any single state that does not have existing NANS body in that state. Even as FCT, there is FCT houses. And also, the 6th geopolitical zone of the federation has NANS zonal level.
Okay.
We have NANS, we have the southwest, we have the south, we have the southeast, we have the northeast, northwest, and north central. And even for the funniest thing is the fact that the national body, the national executive, and most of the offices are zoned by are micro-zoned to zones. For example, the election we concluded recently, the president's office was zoned, the president and the secretary general was zoned to the north central. So if you are contesting for president of NANS, you can only contest for that president from that geopolitical zone.
Right.
Yes. As the PRO now, only people from Southwest contested for PRO. So it is. Are you getting our election? The campaign is going to be across. The election is going to be across. The voting will be across. But the aspirant is going to be from that zone. So next, the North Central now is we call it Zone C. That is Abuja, Kwara, and the likes. Now, automatically, when it moves, by the time our administration elapses and next administration is coming on board, next, the administration will move, the next zoning of the next president will move to Zone D. Zone D is Southwest. So we have Zone A, Zone B, Zone C, Zone D, Zone E, and Zone F. That is 6th geopolitical zone of the Federation and the 6th geopolitical zone of NANS.
Okay, so this is like to strengthen inclusivity around the zones?
Yes, okay. Yes. There's established charter of demand and constitution that guide every activities. And as I'm telling you, there's standard structure for the organization. And when we are talking about mutual relationship or cordial relationship and existing relationship with governors, I can tell you that it exists. Funniest thing, I received a call from one of the SSA to one of these four states. No, the state is not, but it's a northern state too. The person called and was like, I didn't give them a sense of belonging before bringing this out. And automatically, I've seen the angles the person was coming from. Even got to the extent that I may have to reconsider my position. I said, reconsider my position as what? Are you telling me that position? Are you telling me that position is wrong and should not be stand upon? If you told me that I should have given a further consultation to your side, probably for you people to have engaged your governors and see to it and see if before taking it to national issues, I will have accepted it. But the days are running already. So the best you can do as of now is to engage your state government and see to it. Truly, we have zonal leadership over there. We have state executive over there. Truly, yes.
Well, what are they doing with everything that is on ground now? Are they saying anything? Because
see,
all of the publications are coming directly from the NAN's national office, and of course, which you represent. But from the zones too, we need to understand that this fight is for the Nigerian students, and it's not about what some people think. So what are those zonal leaders, coordinators, or president, whatever positions they hold, what are they doing, what are they saying, and how are they engaging their governors?
Okay, thank you very much. You see, many of them has been doing their best to work with us and to give us their support. Yes. Why some are silent in the essence that, these are, as I told you, that the way as a southerner or as someone like me, I know the funniest part is the fact that we are from different background and ideologies also matters at times.
True.
You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. So we coming together as an executive or as an administration does not still mean that automatically our orientation, opinions, and view to things will still align 100% at every time. No. But we just have to see how to exist and to coexist within ourselves.
Okay.
So yes, the point we have made, and I'm sure by the minister even coming out, I'm sure many of them by now will be convinced that truly this thing is how it should be. I don't know, maybe get what I'm saying.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, because 5 weeks, I mean, I'm from a background that entertains both Christianity, Islam, and Ifa. And for me,
so
5 weeks is a
you
long
see,
time. There's no fasting that lasts up to 5 weeks. So is the extra 1 week for the Tunuawe or what?
So now, if you study, if you see this trend of thing, you see that there is no any publication from NANS that has opposed this stand till today.
True.
Yes. So it shows that truly the position we have, this position is right, is correct, and it's a good position and for the betterment of Nigerian students. But as I said earlier, I understand the fact that many of them might not be able to come out openly to oppose the position of their state government. But still, so far they have not been able to come out to oppose the position of the NANS national. It shows that they are still in conformity and they are still in agreement.
I agree
They
with
are
you.
also, so that is my stand, that they are with us.
But
They
with
may be,
your position,
okay.
and of course your understanding, you are being benevolent. Let's say your office is benevolent to accommodate everyone, understanding strengths, weaknesses, and matters, issues that might be considered for people to be as vocal and as bold as you are. But regardless of what their position is, as a national body, how do you propose to balance the rights and interests of Muslim students with those of non-Muslim students, so that at the end of the day, you ensure that no group feels left behind or marginalized?
Thank you very much. Is what we have been doing now. And why? How? By speaking up, by ensuring that even despite the fact that the Murik, let me use the word, let me call the Murik, said the few percentage, or let me use the word, the majority in that state are Muslims, they may have their way. But we are speaking that despite the fact that you said the majority should have their way, likewise the minority should have their say. If the majority are having their way, the minority should have their say. Should have their say. So it shows that even the fact that the citizens of Nigeria.
Okay, thank you very much for your response, Samson. Let's go on another break. We'll return with more details shortly. Stay with us, please.
To education,
All right, glad to have you stay with us on the show. We're having a very, very important conversation, as much as we understand the position of having a large nation like ours with different tribes, different culture, religious beliefs and all. We all need to have a common ground when it comes to human rights and matters that affect every citizen. I've been talking to Samson Adeyemi, popularly known as Sam, which is the national PRO for NANS in Nigeria. Comrade, are you back? Are you with us?
Clearly.
Okay, I can hear you now. So
Okay, thank you very much. A call threw me out from the call, from the meeting.
It's totally fine. So let me get your reaction to that so we can take the next question.
Okay. Please wait there. Can you give me a bit recap? Apology.
Okay, no problem. I was talking about the fact that you need to balance things.
Okay,
And I said that,
thank you,
okay.
thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, you see, one of the purpose of us raising our voice and speaking out is for the purpose of us having opportunity to agitate for the minority that are Christians. And as I was speaking earlier, I remember that I was saying that if the state government of these four states have gone through a proper way of implementing policies that has to do with entirety of the citizen of that state, by engaging critical stakeholders in decision making, I'm sure the CAN will have been consulted, the student leadership will have been consulted, and all different NGOs and
Yeah.
civil organizations will have speak to the state government that this have its implications, and it will tend to a bad legacy and precedence for the state. And on this, and it will also give a different signal to other states in the country. So one of the reasons why we are, and this has shown that there is no proper consultation with even as a state in implementing a policy that is so critical and sensitive as such. So this is
Unfortunately, they've done something as, I'm careful for words now, something that it's supposed to require the attention and contribution of all stakeholders. They've gone ahead to do that without seeking approval or seeking ideas, understanding the position where everyone stands in the scheme of things. But to wrap up on this segment of the conversation, what message does NANS have for Murik and the state governors that have closed schools for Ramadan regarding the need to protect the rights and the interests of all students? Because we need to get the exact message you are pushing out with clarity on the fact that this is about protecting the rights and interests of every student in those states.
Oh, thank you very much. Our message is very simple. Muik should realize that they can have right to speak to national issues that affect their members, and they should not be silenced. The word using Murik using the word medicine, interlopers, these are big words that should not be coming out from our respectable scholars to other organizations. And these are things that affect the nation and turns the nation in terms of religion. And this is not a good sign for people coming behind. Imagine if people are in this position are using this kind of languages and terms to qualify each other, then what message are they passing to people who are younger, are people that are coming behind? So it shows that our people, our leaders need to be more sensitive to national issues and should be coexist and realize that can't speaking on behalf of the minority, as said or as alleged by Murik, is not out of context or out of point. But our message directly to Murik is the fact that they should realize that education is a fundamental right of every single person in this nation called Nigeria.
Right.
And they should not keep encouraging things that can tense the nation or lead the nation into a critical issue of religion extremism, religion issues, and things that will keep turning the state, the zones of the country You know, I said it earlier, when things start turning to the northern, the southern, you start seeing different ideologies and different perspectives to it. Education is education. Let's stop bringing. We have people in the south that are fasting as well. So why is Murik not so much concerned about them?
Okay.
So it shows some sense of concern.
All right. Thank you very much for that beautiful response. Has called on the governments of Bauchi, Katsina, Kebbi, and Kano states to reconsider their decision to shut down state-owned schools. Emphasis on state-owned schools for Ramadan. She revealed that the Federal Ministry of Education had initiated discussions with the four state governments to reopen the schools. However, she acknowledged the fact that the federal government had no direct control over state-owned institutions. And this is where the concerns and worries are, because if every state across different regions decide to go in the way that pleases them, looking at their cultural values and beliefs, to shut down schools or put out rules in their regions, everybody will be affected, because as a nation, we have northerners every part of the country, we have southerners in every part of the country, so we should prioritize that. But let me come back to you, Comrade Samson. So the Ministry of Education is acknowledging that the federal government has limited authority over state institutions, and they are attempting to engage with these four state governors to address the issue. Does that give you any kind of worries?
It gives me a big worry. let me use that word. It gives me a big worry. You see, it's just so funny that we find ourselves in this kind of part of the world, and where things can just happen without consequences. Yes, because if there has to be consequences, I'm sure that Commissioner for Education should be under serious fire. Yes, because I don't understand whereby you say that the federal does not have, if the federal does not have autonomy, yes, or complete power over the state institutions, but you should still remember that the education we are talking about as entirety is under the exclusive list, which also moves to the concurrent list.
Right.
Probably we should make that very clear. So it shows that, and what anything that is under exclusive, that is under concurrent, the exclusive, which is the federal government, has the supreme power to legislate on it. So if the National Assembly sit on this and dialogue on this, and they conclude that those schools should be reopened, it has no choice. It has no choice. And the fact that probably I should make something very recent as an illustration to the Honorable Minister. Now you see many institutions, many state institutions being adopted by the president into a federal institution. Is an example of Taishola University of Education.
I saw that last week.
Good.
I saw that.
Now is the minister telling me that that is not right by the federal government, or the federal government does not have right to do such? There has been a lot of consideration of Yabatech. I think Yabatech has a university status also now. So these are critical things that I think we should not even be dragging by now. But the minister put in that position, I think it has to be well positioned and to be made clear.
But
If you see, no, I think this issue is very clear now with your statement and the elaboration and the justice you make to the statement. Clear. Now, if it is state-owned university, what are the fate of the Muslim students in that state whereby they are under federal institutions? So that is discrimination. That is segregation. I don't know any other thing, other grammar to even use. So it shows that it is not a policy that is well thought of, and the consequences being evaluated before implemented.
unfortunately, the view of the Ministry of Education has been clear following that response, and saying that they are trying to talk to the people, because one would have wondered or concluded that, I mean, all of these institutions are still under the Ministry of Education at the end of the day. But do you think that there's a sufficient way to address the concerns of students and parents, looking at this stance of saying that we don't have a power over what the state governments are doing. We can only come to a round table to have a conversation and make all parties shift grounds. I mean, there are indigenes of those 4 states schooling in other states, and they've not been deprived of their access to education. So,
You see, it is very clear. And when we start having issues of who have absolute control, who doesn't have absolute control, who have this and that, I'm telling you that once we get to that stage, issue has become more difficult, because anything that is very straightforward in this country, at times we just decided and naturally decided to make it so complex and so twisted. It is very clear and very clear. What the federal ministry has done is right, in the essence that they just want to ensure that there is no what's it called, overlapping, and also a state is independent. And also, when there are things like that, they can, as a federal ministry, they can go into consultation with such states to reconsider their decision, which is very, very right.
okay, in a
But
very
if the federal
direct, sorry, in a very direct response, if you were to make recommendations, what specific actions would you like to see the Ministry of Education, I mean the NANS as a body now, what action would you like the Ministry of Education to take to pressure the state governors to reconsider their decision? Because, I mean, today is like day 13 of Ramadan already.
Thank you very much. My recommendation will be very, very simple to the federal ministry. And likewise, I have something to say to the state ministry. To the federal ministry, what I would say is the fact that they have to be more interested in this situation. Because, as I said earlier, because of history and because of precedence. And also, what we are talking of here is education and religion. These are 2 key things
Very
that put the
sensitive.
state into a serious tension, mostly. So attention has to be paid. Proper consultation, if it needs to be done, should be done to address this. And to the state minister and to the state ministry, there are there are other ways which we believe that this issue can be addressed or can be handled. And one of the best way we think it can be handled is the essence that if there is need to consider probably the weather condition of the north or of these 4 states, every state have its own peculiarity and issues and environmental conditions.
Okay.
We
So,
will have encouraged or seek that, and that's why I said that if there has been a stakeholders meeting or a stakeholders what's it called, stakeholder town hall meeting to deliberate on this issue, probably different ideas and suggestions will have come on board. And one of the things I think, if someone like me is being consulted or have opportunity to speak there, is the fact that they can make it a bit, for example, let's say this school's closed by 2 o'clock, and by 2 we know that the sun will be so scorching and will be so serious.
right.
They can make it and reduce it by probably an hour. By what? By streamlining most of these subjects that they are
Okay.
having. A class that's supposed to last for 45 minutes can be reduced to 30 minutes, so
Okay.
that they can be able to adjust this stuff. So instead of just closing the school, okay, now what are they telling us now, that the father, okay, this student that has come, okay, the purpose of what they have been, okay, they are not under trade before, they are schooling. So are they telling us that now that they are under Ramadan, they will just be at home sleeping, or are they giving us assurance that they are truly at home being engaged
They will be
positively?
they probably expect them to do some religious activities. Maybe they will pray more.
Religious activities to pray
Whatever
more.
the issues are, doesn't the fact that the federal government has limited control over state institutions highlight the need for a more unified and coordinated approach to education policy in Nigeria? Do you think that we need a total review? Okay, I mean, I think we have lost that network connection again, but many thanks to Adeyemi Samson, National PRO of National Association of Nigerian Students, for sharing your insights, being a part of the conversation and your perspectives on this very critical and sensitive issue. The debate surrounding Ramadan school closures has brought to the fore important questions about the minority rights in Nigeria, inclusivity, the role of government in balancing competing interests. As we conclude tonight, we are reminded that the pursuit of knowledge and education is a fundamental right that should be protected and preserved for all Nigerians, regardless of their faith, background, tribe, or whatever their beliefs are. We hope that policymakers, stakeholders, and the general public will continue to engage with this issue and work towards finding solutions that promote unity and the well-being of all students and, of course, every Nigeria at the end of the day. Many thanks to our audience for joining us tonight. I'm your host, Adefunke Jaisime, and I strongly believe that regardless of what is happening in the nation, across governance, politics, education, business, social justice, and all, Nigeria will come out strong. Nigeria will be great again. Do have a great evening.